In 1972, Australian rustic rockers Mississippi released their singular self-titled album on Brian Cadd's bootleg label, and from it, the epic opener Save the Land. Okay, we have these mournful strings that sort of beam in on the plaintive minor key piano intro, indicative of a rather earnest topic ahead.
Look at a tree when you pass it by in the morning.
Look at a tree when you pass it by in the morning.
Look at the sky, feel it all around you.
Look at the sky, feel it all around you. I get the feeling that there is an ecological theme to this.
And you may be able to understand why we got to save the land.
And you may be able to understand why we've got to save the land, yeah.
Speak to the wind with all your thoughts of freedom.
Speak to the wind with all your thoughts of freedom. Yeah, these lyrics, touching on themes that are quite relevant today, actually.
Open your eyes, don't let them take you in. Then
Open your eyes, don't let them take you in.
you may be able to understand why we got to save the land.
Okay, the strings are swelling up now. We're heading into the chorus. This track was written by Russ Johnson, who plays guitar and bass, and the main vocals are John Mower. Yeah, both a little bit more on them in a bit.
We got to save the land.
Okay, I guess all three of them, yeah. Graeham Goble on acoustic guitar and vocals, yeah. The three of them hailed from the beat group Alice and Gross, which put out a couple singles at the turn of the 70s.
Look at the ocean with its waves of God floating through our heads. Look at the parks with their greenery crying out to be free.
These metaphors where nature and freedom are kind of placed side by side, yeah. Food for thought.
To be free.
It's basically like plants need to be free as well as humans.
Walk on the hill, feel the earth beneath your feet, listen to time.
Basically, polychordal descent from E minor, like holding on to E minor, but chromatic dropping root note.
Slowly stop its ticking, and you may be able to understand why we got to save the land.
Okay, I was noticing that bass playing, it's, I guess, Barry Sullivan, who played in a whole host of bands. He too would, well, okay. Graeham Goble, who's one of the main members here, one of the harmonizers and guitar, he would become one of the mainstays of the Little River Band, along with B. Birtles, who would join Mississippi right after this album was completed. Yeah, B. Birtles, formerly of Zoot, with Rick Springfield and Darrell Cotton. Yeah, and this bassist, I don't know if he became a fully integrated member, but he too would appear. And Barry Sullivan also played in Carson, who I did a few weeks ago, and Chain, yeah, two blues rock bands, and Renee Geyer band. He's been everywhere. Yeah.
We got to save the land.
Oh, appreciate that warm fuzz tone. Yeah, I guess that's Russ Johnson, the guy who wrote the song. Yeah, giving us that. Okay, the piano is by Peter Jones, who has a whole heaping list of credits. Oh, he was in the bands Mackenzie Theory and Arena. Yeah, two mid-70s jazz rock bands. And yeah, Brian Cadd plays piano on some other tracks on the album. Oh, can you hear that fuzz? Let me back it up here. Yeah, I love how. I love how that fuzz is playing against the swelling orchestral arrangement as we go over that descending theme of the chorus.
Look at the ocean with its waves of God floating through our heads. Look at the parks with their greenery.
Oh, I love that flare up right there, that flowery string motif that was thrown in right there.
Hang out.
Okay, orchestrated by Peter Jones, yeah, the guy who played piano, who also co-produces the album. Yeah. Oh, this speed up, yeah, this gradual wind up, and now we're about to go into a more like windy passage, I think. Oh, hear that fuzzy guitar? It's just like kind of, sputtering out of my right speaker amid the flurry of. Okay, that's the. Oh, you can kind of hear it in this speaker too. When the track initially started speeding up like a moment ago like that, it had me thinking of Goodbye Country by Dog That Bit People. I did that one many months ago, yeah. And this band has a similar style. You know, this band's quite unique in that they're being somewhat kind of artsy and psychedelic. Some like psychedelic guitar tones, some rather creative formatting, and use of like swelling dynamics and such, and chamber like quasi symphonic elements in their rustic sound in a way that you didn't hear much in the United States. The epicenter of rustic rock, but you did hear it in like the UK, like in bands like Home, Help Yourself, Byzantium, The Dog That Bit People, and this band from Australia. Okay, the one exception I can think of offhand from the United States is Space Opera, who put out an album the following year. Yeah. Oh, that guitar is just getting so thick. Yeah, that fuzzy warm tone. Unfortunately, I really do hear it coming from the middle now. So thick. And drums are played by Geoff Cox, who later turned up in that 1976 hard rock one-off Avalanche. Yeah, good album. Okay, I don't know if the bassist who turned up in the Lower River Band along with Gobble and soon-to-be member B. Birtles, because they changed bassists. I don't know if he joined the band because they changed bassists so many times. He plays on this album is not really an official member, but they changed bassists numerous times. And at one point in like 1973, before Mississippi broke up, Charlie Tumahai was on bass, and he, of course, would migrate to the UK and join the second lineup of Bebop Deluxe. Joined them on their 1975 album Futurama. And of course, eventual Little River Band vocalist Glenn Sharrock was also in the UK at the time. He as a matter of fact, the year right after this, he would appear on the first album by Esperanza, the multinational flamenco art rock band that put out 3 albums. And let's see. Anyway, quite like an epic and at times intense track. Yeah, Save the Land, that had a rather earnest message to the world about nature and environment and habitat. And, it's interesting that a lot of concerns that were on people's minds back then are just kind of now seeing their coming of age in the political sphere. Let's hear another track from the Mississippi album, 3 Days.
We came here for 3 days.
Okay, I'm really getting that rustic, woodsy rock sound of that. Right, the epitome of 1972. Some open chords, like minors with an open string, to give it that kind of like looser effect. Those harmonies or no, well, in this case, vocals that accentuate those note, like either the minor or the open note or something. I'm hearing like early Eagles. Yeah.
Just to be around and play for you.
Basically the post Crosby, Stills and Nash school of rustic folk pop that you heard a lot of in, like, say, but there was a lot of it between 1970 and 1973 thereabouts. 1972 seemed to be a particular high water mark for it all.
And maybe thought to do it for ourselves,
The Band America.
but it's doing something else. It's doing something else to me.
D minor, basically. That twangy little bits of guitar. Interestingly, country western, it seems, or country rock would become quite a popular commodity in the Australian market. Like in the years ahead, bands like the Dingoes, Stars, the Ferrets.
The feeling here is like nothing I've ever seen.
Oh, I love those like kind of those kind of like luminous strings that start flaring up like that in the background. More of like a mid-70s touch.
'Cause everywhere people got the dream.
Yeah, I kind of think of those strings that would creep up like on disco records at times, like in moments like between vocal parts, in these like minor key type sections and stuff, creating kind of a dark, kind of like a light, kind of like an ominous light flaring up, light in the dark type vibe.
Some will come just to free themselves, but they're freeing someone else. They're freeing someone else.
Okay, this track was written by Graeham Goble.
across the sea. 3 days. I'm out of my mind, I'm out of my mind, I'm out of my mind.
Those spectrum harmonies, where if you're to break it apart, you could hear like probably 3 different voices on 3 different notes within the chord.
3 days. I'm out of my mind, I'm out of my mind, I'm out of my mind.
Yeah, I think like one singing on the root note, one singing on the third, one singing on the fifth, something like that. Oh, I love the separation on this one because it's like I can hear the 2 different two guys playing acoustic guitar, one kind of strumming, one kind of plucking. And now someone giving us some very light electric guitar, that being Russ Johnson. Oh, that no, yeah, of course, courtesy of producer Peter Jones.
We came here for 3 days.
I think that bit of strings right there, no, that's like my favorite part of the song.
Sing the songs to you and dream of going home. But it can never be the same again. 'Cause
I'm so taken by all the musical elements of this. I'd have to play it again to like to dig more into the lyrics. I can't find them printed anymore, unfortunately.
it's changing everything. It's changing everything for me.
Oh, appreciate those little bits. That little snaky electrical guitar that just kind of oozed in there, took over from the vocals.
3 days. I'm out of my mind, I'm out of my mind, I'm out of my mind.
I also like the drumming, kind of slow, but giving us those full kind of round of like toms that just, you know, kind of like that you would hear on like a lot of like power ballads in years ahead, like heralding the chorus, heralding the more, you know, rhythmically intense sections.
3 days. I'm out of my mind, I'm out of my mind, I'm out of my mind.
Also appreciate the bass because it has like this throbbing low kind of smooth tone that really offsets the kind of more kind of high-end dominance of the other instruments. Yeah, that was 3 Days by Mississippi, and before that, Save the Land, 2 standouts from the 1972 self-titled singular album by Mississippi. 3 guys pictured on the cover, augmented by, like 3 other guys and a producer. And Graeham Goble would go on, who's an official member in this photo, would go on to be part of the Little River Band, along with Beeb Birtles, who would ex-Zoot member Beeb Birtles, who would join Mississippi right after this album came out, and this band would also eventually include a future member of Bebop Deluxe, and yeah, so this band has quite a lot of ties to the past and future of kind of at the nexus of the past and future of Australian rock and really international rock, because like the Little River Band became this kind of multinational juggernaut and really kind of helped put Australia on the Northern Hemisphere radar. Yeah, and this band was quite the music made here was quite an influence, as what on what Little River Band would ultimately do, as was the 1970 album that future Little River Band vocalist Glenn Sharrock played on with Brian Catt. All this throwing names around is getting kind of confusing, I know. Basically, Little River Band was the coming together of musicians that had been in two prior significant Australian bands, Axiom and Mississippi, who we just heard. Yeah, Axiom put out two albums circa 1970-71, and in more of kind of like a folk rustic pop vein, more of kind of an upbeat folk rustic pop vein, and you could say that the Little River Band were a combination of those two influences. You could say the poppier elements of Axiom and the more kind of plaintive melancholy that we just heard in these songs. And Axiom had Glenn Sharrock on vocals and Brian Catt, who was the primary songwriter and pianist, and he of course founded Bootleg Records, which the Mississippi album was issued on. Yeah, a whole bunch of Australian rock history. And anyway, for more Rubies and Sapphires from the Mississippi album, see the directory of albums by Australian artists linked in the description below. Like and subscribe, follow me on social media, share the video, and leave a comment if there are any observations you have about the two songs that we just heard. The layers, the harmonies, the arrangements, the instrumentation, the orchestration, the lyrics, to the first track, and to the second, which I didn't really even dig right into. They kind of passed me by as I was just so caught up in the music of it all, And until next time, this is Zaragon, the world's most ear-traveled Tramaximist, signing off.